In Theta, the spur controls everything. The conversation is dominated by the spurg. Over the next 2 hours or however long they stay sober, you will lose intelligence. Enjoy Theta Thursday. Your hosts, Dawn and Rhea, Maffoon, and some shitty guests.
And here we are, this week on Theta Thursday, and Avon is already getting up, walking out of the building. There we go. That's funny. I have no idea where he's going, but hello everyone. Welcome to this week on Theta Thursdays, where I am totally cropped out because we have so many freaking people here. How's everyone doing today?
I'm good, Mifune.
Needs more cowbell.
Needs more cowbell? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
How you doing, little buddy?
Cowbells.
Oh my god, Dirk's here too.
Dear fucking lord, Caleb, you're only about fucking 5 minutes behind.
So,
Getting coffee, hey.
we have a lot of things to go over today, and one of the first things that I want to talk about is the leak of Pappy's original plan to invade Delph. This came out a few weeks ago. Not really a few weeks ago. It came out, what was it? 5 days ago?
I'm gonna call fake. Seriously, there was no plan. That must be fake.
It
Honestly,
wasn't.
I'm looking at it.
Oh, that was
and
legit.
I took a look at it earlier on, and I've got to say that it's the sort of plan that I would absolutely see somebody who has an idea of what the fuck they're doing putting together. It's a very solid plan. It's very fleshed out to make sure that they can account for anything that we do, any inconsistencies or stumbling blocks in their own shit. It's the sort of plan that, honestly, looking at it, we would put together if we were going to war with somebody. And so I think it's pretty. If it was leaked from way back when, and it's just stayed hidden until now, that's impressive. If it was put together as like an after action report, that's also quite interesting. But either way, it's a pretty solid plan, and realistically, when we look at this, what we are looking at isn't what they were going to do, but everything that they should have done.
Well, see, the thing was is that it is my understanding that this was the plan from the moment of its conception. This was the plan. The thing that went wrong is that this entire plan grew on the hinge that they would surprise us with this war. That we would go for this. That goons would go for the. I'll read it here for a second for the stream, but the original plan was to have us go on a deployment to catch, thinking it would be just another deployment and not an all right out invasion of our own space, right? But then our agents at the hand found this. This is the thing that the agents at the hand found. And that's why they scrapped it, was because Mittens found out about this entire plan from his agents through the hand.
That's okay. That's quite funny. And it's actually good that Docs is here because Doc, how did you feel going into the war last June? But when we were talking about the nip slip and everything, before anybody got into any talk of tests not adhering to our non-invasion pact or possibly, revoking it. Docs, where were you feeling in EVE Online last June?
it's quite hard to remember exactly what was going through my head. What are we talking about exactly here? Do you mean my attitude to like whether we were gonna go or not? Like,
No, there's a leaked plan that apparently puts. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've dropped the paste bin in Twitch chat for people as well. We lost sound apparently.
Oh, there we go. Okay, my thing's acting weird. But here, I'm just gonna read an excerpt for everybody, for people. There we go. Yeah. I see what's wrong. It's OBS acting like a total fucking weirdo. But anyway, here we go. This is the excerpt from the Pappy. So to flesh all this out on paper, that maybe we can digest it better or see mistakes and make improvements. So we demand goons remove all their structures from legacy space. We do so while also ending the NIP. Goons refuse or delay that order, and we send Legacy to shoot those structures. Goons show up to defend them, and we stay out of it. We, as in the rest of Pappy. Then we, as Goon Swarm, end up shooting Brave. The rest of Pappy sees this and proclaims it as an escalation of hostilities. And they get Brave to come and shoot us and over in Quirius and Delve. And then it kind of would grow and grow and grow into the bigger conflict that we all know of is today, right?
So that very specifically, I want to be very specific here, Redline. Sorry.
Redline.
Jesus.
Redline. Wow.
Okay, here we go.
I mean, I know he's not Pappy anymore, but geez.
We're already hurting Mifune tonight. I'm sorry, Mifune.
Wow.
But I want to be very specific. That came from the Test perspective.
Yes.
So basically, the idea was that Test would hold back, send out the rest of Legacy to shoot us. Test would then get involved, and then PanFam would come in and hit us from behind. Docs, last May-June, you were still in CD. How are you feeling about our various bits and pieces with regards to Test last May to June? Just generally. Was it a surprise to you that the NIP ended up being dissolved?
like I say, it's really hard to remember, but I feel like it wasn't a surprise. Like, because I think we were, as I said, it's really difficult to remember that far back, but I feel like I remember there was definitely something that led up to it where we kind of saw it coming, right?
Well, we were doing a lot of fleets, staging out of that friendship Fortizar, and there was a lot of grumbling that, hey, I remember there was a lot of grumbling saying this NIP's coming to a close pretty soon, but for now, try not to shoot their structures, but there was other times where it's like, well, it's going to be happening soon anyway, so there was definitely a lot of grumblings that was about to happen.
I feel like it was very, to me at least, it was not surprising in the slightest. I still remember back a year and a half ago when I was a part of LAN, I called it out. I said the next major war, it's got to be against Test. I had a feeling between Test's biggest new bro corporation leaving while they were up in their deployment, how they suddenly decided that they were going to join the deployment up north when we were using Jeff to help GTOG evac and whatnot, and Test started getting into the mix. I had a bad feeling, and I said it. The next major war is going to be with Test, and then they did it, and it wasn't surprising to me in the slightest. It really wasn't.
I'm essentially there with you, but I was thinking the same thing with Pandemic Horde. Turns out we were both right.
Yeah, and then Pandemic Horde, we're always shooting shit with them, when are we not?
I more meant a legitimate war with them, and here's some skirmishes and some random, let's travel 50 jump fleets. I figured something big was coming down the pipe. The frequency of the wars has been kind of consistent. What the players change, but how often they happen has kind of been remaining the same.
So
Yeah.
here's the kind of thing that I was getting towards with my comments there and asking Docs to weigh in.
Yeah, I
Was
feel like I dropped the ball there.
no, it's fine. You're allowed to drop the ball sometimes, Docs. We appreciate you regardless. But like the thing here is that this is still a pretty solid war plan.
No,
And if Pappy really abandoned this particular plan because it was found by the Black Hand, and just because we had ideas of like what they would be doing, this is what we anticipated they would be doing regardless. We were prepping for this regardless. So for them to abandon it and then do what they've done and be here, 13 months later, nearly 12 and a half, 13 months later, like, holy shit, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
So, what do some of our other guests feel about these early planning that they had?
Oh, Dawn,
Klexos,
thanks for coming on from assignment. Dawn, if you guys don't know, is deep behind enemy lines tonight.
Contribution right here.
I was gonna kind of want to hear from a guy in Creighton, see what they think.
Yeah, I want to see what Klexos or Guy or Cretton. Do you have any opinion on the release or what their initial plan would have been like? Which was, as we kind of said, it seems like they wanted to try and bait us out.
Can someone please comment on the horribly short list of FCs on that leak?
Yes, that's something I wanted to get to next.
They can't even spell Hartley's name right.
It must be from 2011. It's got things like Sword Dragon and stuff. Like,
no. Let's let people comment on the broader leak before we start talking about the inability of whoever the fuck wrote this. I believe it was Manny to spell. Never mind the list of FCs. But what do people think about the content before we get into the detail?
As I read more and more of this, it just seems to me that they took away a lot of the bad things from it and didn't try to elaborate on. There are good things in it, and they didn't try to elaborate on them. We can still see they have a big struggle with SRP. They have a big struggle with command and control because, like we say, this is a 7-monitor escalation because they need 7 different people to approve. The war by council is not working for them, nor would it. And setting up a command and control infrastructure goes directly, like this document or leak or whatever you want to call it, basically says they had some good ideas to set up like a unified, like, I'm in charge type of deal, and they just said fuck it at some point.
Yeah, I was reading that they have a point about having like one, god being Sky Marshal that's going to control everything, and what happened to that?
There's a really good quote in here, and I mean they want to use Discord to run this. That's fair enough. You use whatever particular piece of infrastructure you want. But the quote is, "One Discord to rule them all. We need a multi-tiered Discord that will be efficient in disseminating information while maintaining operational security. It is imperative that we, test, set the tone for protocol on what is said where. Everything is need to know and is only said in the highest rung possible." Like, that's very sensible.
Sure it is, yeah.
Oh, judging by the execution, it must be easier said than done. I mean, they kind of fucked that one up.
I do like the implication they put in here. Our enemy do have Russian and Asian players. That means there's a good chance our comms will be DDoS, and we should set up a backup independent of our main comms, automatically implying that because we have Russians and Asians, they will be attacked in their software.
Look, when was the last time tactics like that were actually used in a game like this? Because it's been quite a while.
Well, Dave and Mike seem to disconnect. It was like every day, both of them at the same time. Like everything shuts down for them for like 5 minutes.
I would say the last time they tried anything close to that is when they were losing the M2 fight, and I'm not saying they did it, but when they said out loud, and there was recordings of this, that they were going to try to kill the server.
Right.
They're going to try to kill the server using super fighters, just deploying a bunch of them trying to crash the server. That'd be the last, closest thing.
No, this will be a question, I guess, mainly for someone like Dirk or Caleb that have been playing Eve for decade, right? When was the last time you saw alliances spider crawling and spider webbing themselves into the enemy form site or anything like that? Like that hasn't happened since what? 2010, 2011?
I don't know what that means.
I think this plan was written back then. It looked like it from the FC list.
It could be, very well.
Seriously, I would like to ask a question because I am not a military strategist or anything like that. I never served in no armed forces or anything. But comparing this to, say, my world, which is the business world, shouldn't a document like this contain something like the equivalent of a SWOT versus SWOT analysis stuff, like strengths and weaknesses and actual things to attack?
This is the sort of document that you put together, to start. This is your broad strokes.
Oh, so this is a
planning
thing.
thing.
Let's kill someone.
Right.
This is the equivalent of they had a meet. This would be the closest, how they wrote this up to me is they had a meeting about it, and this was someone taking notes. This was the secretarial notes of their meeting.
Whiteboard, so it's the broad strokes of the ideas and the things they want to use.
We have a phrase. We have a phrase for this in EVE Online. This is what they put together at the barbecue while they were 5 beers in, Caleb.
No, there is a little bit of planning shown through this. They obviously were fleshing out ideas. So this
you
is
evidently haven't been to a barbecue when you're 5 beers in.
So
we do this shit while drunk.
Coming from a former military, we actually have an acronym for this. It's called BAMSIS. It's begin the planning, arrange for reconnaissance, make reconnaissance, complete the plan, issue the order, and supervise. They just never made it past the begin the planning step.
Well, if you look at it, the document itself, they have an outline of all the different things they need to focus on, improve, and have a plan for, but it doesn't seem like they created an actual effective strategy and plan to deal with a lot of those potential adversities they came across when structuring.
I mean, if you want to talk about military, this reads to me like it was the fucking first lieutenant fucking sitting in the fucking wardroom, trying to write down what the CO was saying.
This is straight up butterbar material.
Yeah.
One other thing
we have ensigns.
Since we have
Mifune, real quick, one other thing that I want to comment on before we move on is a comment from Twitch chat, which is Lourdes Cal saying, ego is the problem for Pappy. Too many wannabe alphas. And this comment kind of rings for me because I read through this earlier on tonight. And again, quoting from this leaked document, closing words on command and control. Our enemy has a tried, tested, and efficient means of command and control to employ and utilize its forces. Ours, no matter our efforts, will be ad hoc, but it is mission critical that we get it as close to perfect even before a shot is fired. I have seen this be a huge point of failure in the past. And here is the key thing from the quote. Things like inefficient information sharing, leaks, people not being on the same page, and egos left unchecked. These are things that were designated as huge points of failure. Egos going unchecked, and yet Lourdes is here more than a year later talking about egos in Twitch chat.
How long into the war did it take them to develop a unified communication system?
They have a unified.
Still working on it.
How long will it take them?
When did the Pappy Assemble Discord come about? Do we know exactly?
2 weeks after the NIP broke, that's when the Pappy Assemble Discord was made. That's when they started to get everyone on Horde's Mumble. Everything.
Yeah, but they weren't all signed on to it though. That's the thing.
No, they had started to get everyone signed on to that 2 weeks into it.
I don't know if I'd call relaying pings to everyone real unified communication. That's just kind of hey, we're going on a fleet rather than an actual open unified discussion.
I would mostly agree with you, although noting the fact that how Pappy has their whole setup with so many different forces in play. I mean, they're not incorrect in saying it's going to be very hard. It would have been and still is very hard for them to have like a secure, unified comms that they could all get in. Mumble is one thing, but having
that's some bullshit.
Well,
I don't think so, because like
they
you have
struggle to do it.
To piggyback off of that though a little bit, like think about it.
We have a coalition. No, real quick. We have a coalition. How do you get access to our all ping?
So, getting the pings is one thing. What I more meant is you're gonna like in their comms, you're gonna run into more situations like too many chiefs, not enough Indians,
because
where
they've done it badly.
Right, but there's I would say with setting it up as it comes to them, there's no real good way to do it, but also setting it up ahead of time would give us even more of a tip off, A, and B, like you have to get everyone to agree to that. And sometimes that's harder in of itself without and still trying to remain it kind of OPSEC. Right? There was no good way to set this up, and now everyone's so used to the trash that they can't using a better like switching over to a better method is not going to be any like it's not going to be productive for them at this point. Even
to kind of piggyback off that though, is like you think about it, they have however many alliances and then multiply that by however many corporations and hundreds of different players, right? And you want to bring everybody into a unified information relay and communications. Well, that's just not going to work flat out, for the reason being you have so many different entities just in its own right who have their own ways of doing things that may have been doing them for years and years and years, and you bring them all to this new infrastructure, people aren't going to agree. And then when it comes to talking about the different alpha type personalities, going back to how many different alliances and corporations of different FCs, different leaders, things like that, especially when it comes to FCs, there's so many different types of ways to FC, and a lot of the people that are FCs are definitely like in an alpha mentality, especially when they start leading fleets and doing those things, right? So those egos are definitely going to conflict, and it's inevitable.
Yeah, that's for certain.
Because we do have a limited time today, because start my new job tomorrow. I have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm only going to get 4.5 hours of sleep. Because the time that we do our show. So we are going to move on to the next topic.
You got a new job? Wait a second, what?
Yeah, I quit Wendy's. I told you this last week.
Oh, did you tell everyone on the stream?
Yeah, I quit Wendy's. I work in a warehouse now. They had a whole discussion about how I just don't want to go work for Amazon and kill myself. But I am currently working in a warehouse now. I'm a packer. My whole job is to take a box off of one shelf and put it on a different shelf, and then move on to the next box. But anyway, the next topic that we're going to talk about is the FRT translation of their announcement of what they talked about, the big Pappy announcement coming thing on Saturday. Before we do a full panel commentary on it, I want to read the important bits from the translation. I'll put the paste bin and stream here in a second.
I'll drop.
I have a caveat for that before you get started. If you're expecting something big, you're going to be disappointed.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was about to say is, hey, they said a long time ago, if you're expecting a big battle, don't expect it. But yet here we are. So this is, there are two paragraphs to this that I'm going to read from. The first one is FRT admitting that Goons has been a very tough force, and that they did not expect Goons to have as much spirit as we did. And then the second one is future plans. So here we go. The 1-Q constellation and its combination of jammers, jump bridges, and supers has stood for 90 days against thousands of attackers. To give the devil his due, the Mittani has cultivated a group of die-hard loyalists. Goon's firesides have stayed very stable around the 900 to 1300 mark.
This sentence is key.
Yeah, this is key. The Mittani seems to not care nor understand member burnout. I don't know if this is a translation thing or if that's actually what he meant, but
according to our guys, the translation is accurate.
It's accurate. Okay, so like, it's not that we don't understand burnout, it's just that we don't have burnout. Like, goons yeah, I get burnout for like a week. I go play Battlefield for 2 days, and then I'm like, God damn, I want to go right back into fucking Eve. Right?
Well, that's the thing. We have burnout, but we understand it a lot better than the enemy.
We manage it ourselves.
Yeah, we manage it on the individual level, not.
We need to finish out this sentence here as well, right? So the Mittani seems to not care nor understand member burnout.
And this is
very different from how Test and other Null Alliances manage their members. We, Noreus saying as Alliance leaders, thought we understood the nature of the player base and game mechanics. So we launched World War B2, but this tireless swarm of maniacal bees is somewhat unexpected.
I've got to point out, who was it? Was it Test or was it the Imperium that took, was it a week or 2 weeks off of work to bash structures? No, it wasn't the Imperium. It was Test.
Well, I equate this to, like, goons have been used to wars. Anytime someone wants to come fight, usually it's like, hey, let's go fight goons for whatever reason they want to give themselves. Whether it's, let's go try to filament out there, let's go try to kill their ratters, whatever. We've been fighting for so long that it's not even like burnout, because this is our game. Like, we're not burned out playing the game we like, you know. If you're doing what you love, you've never worked a day in your life, right? We're not burning out on something we enjoy.
There's a single word. No, there's a single word, real quick, that Avon is looking for there. Hell War. Welcome to the Hell War.
Welcome to the rice fields. Like, this is how goons are. Yeah. Like, on a day-to-day basis, I only may log into Eve for 2 or 3 hours at a time throughout my day. Like, I'll log in, like, when I first wake up, on a day that I don't have work, the first thing I do when I wake up is I log into Eve, I see if there's anything going on. If there's nothing going on, I'll log off, I'll go play a different game. And then I have my pigeon up on my other monitor, and if something happens, then I log off whatever game I'm playing, and I go log into Eve. Yet I hear Sappy members and Taffy members, they literally sit there for 4.5 hours a day, sitting in the T5Z Keepstar waiting for pings.
Well, like, this is back to factual based stuff, right? These guys, every time they talk, it to me it sounds a lot like projection, right? Because if you go back throughout the entirety of the war, of course you can go and look at things like the proper sampled participation metrics and all that stuff, but that's really not the actual readiness of the Imperium. The Imperium's readiness is seen in who shows up to meetings, who is actually responding to things like something as simple as the fireside or the view numbers of the meta show. This is where you can culturally sample a little bit of whether or not there is any fatigue at all. And there hasn't been. Of course, people are not necessarily playing Eve as much as they used to, but they're still in the Imperium. They haven't left. No, there is no lapse in numbers as far as I can tell.
Good afternoon, Alterari. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Dear God.
Oh no.
Thank you for your corpse yesterday.
So we were just talking about the Chinese translation.
So hold on, there's a lot more. So the next paragraph they go over is, we tried simple frontal attacks, two-pronged attacks, or kind of like a war on two fronts, against both 1DQ and EV, covert tier 3 gangs, swapped between hacks, AFs, and bombers, had countless propaganda slap fights on Reddit. The goons spent 2 months refining their defensive strategy, and this gave their members a sense of satisfaction and pride. In certain time zones, they started outnumbering the coalition. On the other hand, since the coalition is unable to use capitals and facing imbalanced game mechanics, fleet numbers have decreased, so the overall mood became frustrated. I just want to say,
wow.
facing imbalanced game mechanics? Since
I mean,
when?
no,
Since when?
Whoa.
Cyno jammers are now bad, okay?
Even before we get into the game mechanics, who said they can't use capitals?
They did.
Like, really? If you want to drop capitals, drop your capitals.
I think they're implying because of
there.
this. I think in this direct instance, they're talking about Cyno jammers prevent them from jumping them into 1DQ or ETAC-V.
Just
hold on. Let me look.
Point of order: 1DQ is vulnerable and unjammed right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's currently unjammed, so the opportunity is there.
Just go ahead and jump your hacking minnow on.
Well, at this point, they've settled into a rut, right? They don't want to break the rut themselves.
Well, they've lost momentum.
And imbalanced game mechanics, like if you're fighting in an actual battle and they have a bunker with a machine gun nest that is facing a wide open beach, and you got to get across that beach on foot, yes, you are going to get mowed down by the machine gun. You're going to lose guys. It means keep pressing the attack and feeding numbers in it, and you'll get there eventually. You guys should try it sometime. Maybe then you might be more successful.
We gave him a hands-on demonstration on how to reinforce shit in a staging system the other day.
I mean, let's talk about even earlier in the war. We gave him a demonstration 4 or 5 times with those keep stars, right? How many ships did we just feed into those things?
Literally trillions worth.
Exactly.
How many Ravens did we lose on
like,
the Wise
it's the cost of victory, and I think overall they've completely underestimated the Imperium. Like, they look into a group, right? That overall, and I think a lot of groups have it too, but you have a lot of members that have been playing what I like to call the long game in EVE, right? 10+ year players that have multiple accounts that have just been playing the long game, preparing, ready to go. You know, all the assets, they're just assets to be thrown into the fray and don't care if they lose it, right?
And I get why they're unwilling to lose ships. It's demoralizing when you're told we have to stand down our fleet because we don't have any more Feroxes to use. Also, here's your gabloons that once you get enough of these, you might be able to turn them in for money. Who the hell knows? I don't even know how their system works. I don't know if it's effective.
How many times have we just completely wiped out their supply of Feroxes, starting with like when they first tried to
go after whatever type of fleet doctrine they want to use, it gets completely wiped out. And well, as a coalition, they might be able to say, yeah, we eventually got these moved in and stuff, but that individual members goes, I've lost like 8 ships today, and I maybe got 1 reimbursed this week.
I don't.
But isn't the Gabloons just a variation on DKP?
Yes.
I don't know how it works.
Is, Caleb.
Yes, it is.
It really is. It's funny that it is. But anyway, I know you can't tell who's talking tomorrow. I'm sorry. We have like 10 people in the channel. I haven't figured out how to do multiple columns yet on everything. I'm working on it. But here's the thing. Is that God, now I lost my train of thought. On the line member, like on the mentality of a line member, yeah, they don't want to lose their ships because it's demoralizing. Because it's oh my God, I just died in 10% tie-dye, and it could take me anywhere between the next minute and 15 to get back. Right.
I mean, let's clarify here, though. It's not demoralizing to lose a ship. It's demoralizing to lose a ship and not see any reward for it. Not see the enemy have consequence.
Yes. And then
it's demoralizing to jump out of system and then get bombed into oblivion.
And then when it comes, when you get, hold on, because I wasn't finished. When you get to the higher up level of things between the Ops FCs and Vili and ProGod and Gobbins and all them, when it gets to them, I honestly think it's just because the industry changes have left them poor. I honestly think that the Pappy collective bank is very small now throughout this war. I believe it is down to their last pinch, and they don't want to risk losing that last pinch on a futile attempt of 1DQ. Because if they do go balls deep into 1DQ, they're going to suffer big time. And there are still, to this day, 2 Titans in test that haven't been SRP'd from M2. So I think they just don't have the ISK. They don't have that ISK for that risk versus reward. They don't have the capability of being able to die and reship for 19 hours just to get the iHub in 1DQ. You know, they don't.
They have added value and meal vouchers.
Well, I
I
mean,
just noticed there, Mifune, that you must have had the isk to get that cute, sassy hairdo.
My hair is
Congratulations,
turned.
man.
My hair is pulled back right now because of the headphones.
It's like a refined
An unholy Gabalist. I don't do
Gabloons.
He brings up a good point. Like, I just recently started filing for Goon's SRP. I never used to do it in the past because I didn't care. I took the ship out there to lose. I just wanted to see the average time it would take, and I have now done it 9 times throughout the entire course of this war. And in all those 9 times, the longest I ever waited for SRP was an hour and a half.
I'm impressed it was even.
Whoa, it took him an hour and a half to SRP you? That's
I
good.
would have expected
Call
the
Atrum.
average.
The one that took, most of them are a half hour less. The one that took an hour and a half is because he had a question of why I lost an Astero with polarized torpedo launchers in the cargo. I had looted them from another guy on the fleet who had died.
Well,
so he's like, why is this so much? And I was like, oh, that was loot. So he just had a question about it. I was like, explained it. It was easy.
I'd kind of expected that you would turn out and say, like, on average it was going to be like 6 hours. And you know what? I think even still, a 6-hour turnaround on average.
Even if it's a 24-hour turnaround, like a 24-hour turnaround, I would say to me an acceptable level for the rate of pings throughout this war is I would be perfectly fine with even like a 48-hour turnaround.
I get mine sometimes before my friggin' pod's dead.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, especially
that's Amir and the SRP team being incredible. But I mean, you know,
that's when someone from the SRP team's on the fleet with you usually.
Well, to be fair, actually, when we know there's a big fight happening, a lot of the time the SRP team will
they'll be on standby,
and be online, ready to do things.
And then instead, like, I understand, like, they have the gabloons thing, so it's what 1 million ISK is of loss is 1 gabloon if you're flying doctrine and their fleet or whatever it is. But I get and you turn in at 100 million, so I get their 100 million, and who do I turn them into? Like, they say?
So the way that gabloons work, as for anyone who's never been in Pandemic Horde before, is that you submit your SRP loss, they give you your gabloons, and then there's a certain minimum of gabloons that you can export, right? That you can transfer. So the problem with gabloons lies with that minimum, because let's say 100. I lose. It's 100. Is it 100 gabloons? Yeah.
It's
like 100 million ISK, right? So let's say you die in I don't know, a caracal, and that caracal is 40 million. That 40
you've got to lose 2.5 caracals before you can get
right.
You
have to lose.
So my question is let's say I have 100 gabloons right now.
Yeah.
Who do I turn
So you just go to their form site. You just go to their form site, and then you go through a redeeming process. You go through like a link click to redeem them. You select how many you want to redeem. You hit a button, and they say, "Okay, sometime in the next 48 hours, you'll get your ISK." And then,
dear Lord, this is I've got to comment on this because this has just got really, really weird, and the irony is getting to me a little bit. This is an Imperium News talk show talking about how Pandemic Horde gets their SRP and
probably
what
more
the
than they
process
do too.
is for them to actually get their SRP at the end of the day.
If I had to venture to guess, it's talked about more here than they talk about it.
Not only do we get Alliance SRP, but a lot of corps have their own SRP. I know in Sundering we have our own SRP, and I think
can double dip.
ASCII does.
Yeah,
ASCII
Commonfleet has some top up. Like, you know, if there's something that we think is not quite there on the Alliance level for some reason, we'll top people up with that.
I know that there is a couple of ships where the stuff hasn't even been adjusted. So theoretically, if you insured your ship and have the Corp and Alliance SRP, you can sometimes break even and or make money off losing a ship.
Oh, what are these ships, man? I got an idea.
I'm pretty sure that this is what was kind of hinted at in that ping that Mittens put out with the multi-level marketing stuff. Because this whole thing of that you have to get a certain amount of gabloons before it even pays out is very, very banker and multi-level marketing oriented.
Oh yeah,
It
because
really
they're
smells
using
a lot like a scam, right?
Yeah, they're using the first. It's a Ponzi scheme in some ways, or a pyramid scheme in some ways, like using the first people stuff to pay off the new guys or whatever.
Like you need to reach a certain goal to actually be able to cash
Right.
out and stuff like that. So yes, this is where it's a very MLM.
But Greg, in response to your previous question, I don't know many of the ships right now, but I know for a while they're like Minakawas. If you insured and had SRP to Minakawa and lost it because of the changes, you would actually make money off losing a Minakawa out of 1DQ because of how much they were listed for on the market.
But they're being horrible. All may change this Saturday, July 24th.
Right.
It's going to be a day that's going to be on our calendars, Mifune. What's going on then?
That's fine.
So this is the final paragraph.
This is the same one.
Yes,
same thing. This is Nereus.
Same thing from the FRT leaders.
Okay.
This is about what's going to go down on Sunday. So there are two paths that they are going to announce. Between the two decisions, they have to deliberate between these two decisions, and then on Saturday they will finally decide and announce to the rest of Pappy which of these two decisions they will make. Right? So the first path is a long-term entertainment for Pappy members and maintain the containment of Delve. Meaning that the coalitions may have to adjust some of those blue mutual standings so that they can create content of themselves and keep their members engaged.
Because we're contained,
because we're so contained that we're not good enough content for them anymore, that they got to go out of Delve and make content for themselves now, apparently. But anyway, the second thing that they will do, or they will use a new method, a new doctrine, to try and take the rest of Delve regardless of the cost. So the Pappy Command will release their decision on Saturday the 24th, and they say they plan to end this war within 60 days of Saturday. So honestly, for me, I'm going to pull what Caleb said. If you were expecting a big battle, it's not going to happen. And if they do jump balls deep into 1DQ, well, then they're screwed. Either way, they are screwed, in my opinion.
Well, I was going to comment on it earlier, but you talked about how they had the opportunity to, just start jumping and lobbing ships into 1DQ and going for it and just, paying the blood price, right? And instead they decided we're not going to do that. We're going to go to harassment methods. We're not going to use caps. We're not going to do this and that. And they lost a lot of momentum. And now they're going to circle back around and pay that same blood price with no momentum and even worse financial situation. I mean, what do you think?
Clearing goods from 1DQ is not a 60-day process. That is correct. I'm going to pull that from the chat first because that is hilariously correct. But the thing about your thing, Clexus, is that they think that they are oh my god, we're gonna go balls deep into 1DQ and everyone's gonna suddenly log in. Now it was really funny. I'm gonna point this out. The guy on Reddit, when we refed the entirety of T5Z, and there was a Pappy guy that has been unsubbed for like 5 months that resubbed all of his characters to the game just to get blue balled on the T5Z timers. Mm-hmm. And it's like
made you sub.
Everybody knew. We all knew we were gonna blue ball those timers. So
I think that's funny because Pappy went with the we can make you form anytime, haha, made you form, haha, made you sub as our response.
Yeah,
imagine resubbing. Really, imagine resubbing everything you have for that.
You said 8 accounts, right?
Yeah, I think you said 8 accounts. Yeah. On the Reddit post.
Lord. Like $150 right there.
That's what I feel bad for him. I honestly feel bad. Dude, your money. That's
I don't feel bad. I'm happy.
Well, I don't feel bad for him in the game, but like, man, when I go to Vegas, I want to find that guy and buy him a beer. Like,
I will give him credit where credit's due, though. When we did that, we did see their numbers kick back up significantly. They had, what, 1,600 people in T5Z?
Because
when we were doing that,
because that's the thing. Hold on, I'm gonna pull out the John Hartley here.
They managed to get to 1,600 people. Wow.
This is the invasion of Goon Swarm. We are not supposed to be attacking them. We are supposed to be defending, and the only way they will form is if we're attacking. What the absolute fuck?
I did find it amusing, too, that when we were attacking, what was their defensive strategy? Put a bunch of bubbles around the gate, undock carriers and supers, and send the fighters to the
you know that thing they complain about on Reddit all the time?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right?
So, is this
but
the point
there was a
which...
distinct lack of frat capitals there because, well, their pullout game was pretty weak, but they're gone.
Is this the point at which we have to take a moment and just remind our viewers that this is not the Reconquista?
No, it's
This is not anything that you can expect to see from Goon Swarm. This is us, like, just having
that
fun.
Was a bored Saturday.
We're contained
literally
at the minute, guys.
It's literally a bored Saturday.
We are contained right now. So what you need to remember is that when the Reconquista comes, and the Reconquista is coming, but when the Reconquista comes, it will not be televised.
But it will have a DJ.
So was anyone else besides me on that fleet where we decided to go ref that stuff on Saturday, where in the fleet, Asher was literally like, hey guys, we have two options. We can go home because nothing's happening. Or, as a side note, put ref in fleet chat if you want to go ref some stuff in T5ZI. And we all put ref, because guess what? We made a vote by group decision to go fuck your shit up in T5Z.
For fun. Not even
I was there.
Serious or tactical. It was just great fun.
Ref by group decision was nice.
I was one of the FCs. It was great. It was a great time. Asher
I
asked over Global, and he was like, hey, can you ask your guys if they want to reinforce stuff in T5?
Yeah, it wasn't like a decision we thought of ahead of time.
Oh, I thought it was really funny how I called out that we should have shot their main their main Satoyo, and then I got called a fucking idiot by some people.
You still are.
No, I know I'm an idiot. I am very clearly an idiot 90% of the time. But hey, and then Asher actually went and shot it.
Well, we shot some other things first. I don't think we would have started with the Sodio. We started with
the Sodio was a distraction, so that we couldn't. So they, they had a choice between the Sotoyo or the Fortizar.
I think we're forgetting to mention the Star Fleet of the night.
The bomber fleet that came in and did fun things.
No.
The Noctis fleet that Mitani ran.
Oh, yeah, I was on that. That was fun. I got 503 million in loot and salvage from Pappy donators.
And Mitani literally showed up and is jacked off.
He did, and I did get to put more corpses in my corpse bay of my Dagon, so that made me happy. Only 105 more corpses to go to fill that thing.
Did we talk about the Rorqual that was killed?
Oh yeah,
whoa! Before we get into the Rorqual that was killed, we have to ask which Rorqual was it? The one Rorqual, or two Rorqual, or three Rorqual, Oh no, sorry, it was 4 Rorquals.
Well, okay, so another thing is like that just brings back the point of when we were in their staging system, reinforcing all of their shit. They pinged 50, not 15, 50 times to get people in fleet to defend their shit.
Oh, Tori, was that you that was doing the? Who's the one that first brought up the counting thing?
That was Asher.
Was that Asher? Okay.
That was Asher. And then who was it? Asher, and then Cryo ran with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So guys, take a look on stream.
Yeah, this same guy keeps deciding he likes mining with the Rorquals and being dumb.
This guy really likes to be mining in his Rorqual and not care that there are neutrals or reds in system.
Yeah.
because
he has lost in the last couple
times is a long time.
In the last 2 years, he's lost 11 Rorks, of which only 2 of them were not to goons. One was to Pandemic Horde, and the other was to Snuffed. So
that's impressive. Like, that is an impressive amount of Rorquals to lose.
No, I give him credit for being, pretty,
I've
kind of
lost
rich,
none.
but
okay, I take the back. I did lose one Rorqual during a capital roam, but being a prolific miner, I have not lost a Rorqual yet. Knock on wood.
I have lost a set of excavators, and that is all.
When you say only 11 in 2 years, if you've lost more than that, that means you're even worse of a Rorqual pilot than he is. So I wouldn't be proud that you've lost more than 11 in 2 years.
Well, I mean, he lost Rorqual every 2 months is significant.
Yeah,
he lost 3 Rorquals in one day.
Yeah,
quite in a 24-hour period, dude lost 3 Rorquals. 2 of them were in the same system.
Before we get too far away,
3 of them were.
I just wanted to comment on when we were talking about the fleets in T5Z. Do you guys remember what happened at a certain point with the Pappy fleets?
Yeah, they docked up, and their FC said, "What can we do?" And then we continued to.
Yeah, which moment of just abject misery from their fleets are you talking about? Where they had to stand down because they had no more ships? Where they realized they couldn't do anything? Where they had a failed skynetting attempt, and instead of sending them to send their fighters to go fight, they just sat them around the jump bridge that we later refed anyways.
Like, that really just speaks volumes, though, as to what the status of their fleets and their composition is at the moment, though. Don't you think?
Yeah,
it does.
It really is.
When they don't even know what to bring and whether or not they even have enough holes and ships available to do anything they want to do, other than, hey guys, let's go grab some more Stormbringers that aren't working.
Like, when fleet commanders in a consensus decide there's not a damn thing we can do, we're logging out, going and doing other things, and whatever happens is the status quo. I mean,
that was M2. Just log out, guys. Just log out your accounts, and hopefully it works out for you.
See that? I mean, M2 was a lot of assets committed, but that was an engagement they were jumping into. This is an engagement in their home stager right next to their currently home Keepstar.
I've got a feeling everything's going to change on Saturday, though.
I don't.
I've got leaks from back channel that they're having their own goon meet. They're saying that they're not the Vegas. If you can go to Vegas this year.
Is this the goon meet with the hookers and the blow? Greg?
No, they're having their own meet, and it's going to be a Pappy meet, and it's going to be hosted by Villy. It's going to be at Chuck E. Cheese's in Lamesville, Connecticut.
I'm dead.
I also wanted to add on, Lila
That's
Power
great.
said in the chat, no hubris, guys. But I just really wanted to point out what, that situation was, because that just, in actions alone, speaks volumes, in my opinion.
Now, that's just a rumor, right? It's heard from my back channels, which may be different from everyone else's back channels. I don't know.
It's Greg's back channels are the squirrel in his back garden.
The other rumor that I heard was for a big announcement. They're going to announce, ladies and gentlemen, your new Sky Marshal, Rebecca Gold.
Oh God, that wouldn't surprise me either.
I just want to take this opportunity for all the Pappy people listening. For all the Pappy people that are listening, I'm still offering my services to FC for you guys. 20 bill of fleet, and I get super keys. That's it.
Okay, extra squishy over there.
I'm just giving them opportunity to have a U.S. time zone again, okay?
And
that's fair.
My offer still stands. I will be happily willing to buy any Pappy Super Titan at the grand total price of 10 ISK by jumping it through the 1DQ gate, and I give you a 10% guarantee that no one will kill you.
Mufune, did you say 10 ISK because that's all you can afford?
No, that's 10 ISK because that's all they're worth to me.
I'll pay 15.
I'd like to welcome Ghoster and Dominarch to the stream too. I don't think we welcomed them earlier.
Oh jeez.
Mufune,
can you move the Twitch chat in the stream over to the side at all so we can see the people?
I might be able to. Let me play around with it a bit.
If they can't see us, we're just ninjas.
Alt F4 works. I heard Finny for hotkey.
I heard works
And
died,
before
and
the
people
stream
ran out of
crashes.
tips. I had to jump in.
Yeah, so the same guy that lost her work many times before has lost another one due to some awesome work by some awesome people.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I killed Lady Scarlet in a Ferox, and that's my crowning achievement for this war.
Oh, you were on that fleet too?
Nice.
Yeah, I got a bomb hit on Lady Scarlet, so I was happy.
Yeah, me too. That's all.
Okay, so probably the same fleet. We were probably on the same fleet.
Yeah, the bombing fleets are phenomenal.
Yeah, bombing fleets I always like to see things like that because we had, like, for instance, we had one guy. It was his first ever bomber fleet, and he got like 70 kill mails or something like that. He was so ecstatic and just going crazy in the comms because he was so happy. He's like, "Look at all the stuff I did." We're like, "Yeah, man, that's what we like to see. People having fun, getting to it."
So we had a real quick question about who is Lady Scarlet. Lady Scarlet is one of the bigwigs over in NC Dot. She's not the Mittens equivalent, but she runs their rental empire mostly, and
I would say she's like the anomaly of NC Dot.
no, I wouldn't give her that much credit.
I would. You get,
So you
give
see
her credit where it's due.
she's their rental manager. Like, she does other stuff, but she's their rental manager. She doesn't hold their infrastructures together. She's not she's very well known, but I wouldn't say that she's an icon in the way that Innomina is. An Innomina is an icon.
Kane does have a good point in Twitch chat, like the old lady at a storage rental facility. She's got the U-Haul keys in her pocket.
Also, Xenojax has mentioned that they think that the Saturday announcement is that Pappy is going to do the AT. I just want to, throw out here that Goonswarm is doing the Alliance tournament, and if you want to join the Goonswarm Alliance tournament team and are in Goonswarm, you can find our recruitment post in the war room.
I think that's a specific dig at CCP, how they hyped up the announcement so much across multiple platforms, saying it was such a big announcement, and then all they announced was AT's coming back.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Fuck you all. I'm taking it. Goonswarm is running an AT team. We do have a recruitment post in the war room. I'm aware that Init is running a team. TNT are apparently running a team. Bastion are not. If you are part of the Imperium and interested in joining a team and your alliance is not running a team, check out the Goonswarm recruitment post, because we can have mercenaries this year, and just generally, like, hey, the AT is going to be a ton of fun. So how about fuck everybody who thinks that the AT is worthless, because you're all terrible people.
Okay, so Lila Power in chat, if that's what you're going after.
We're super hyped for the AT.
If you're going after Lila Power in your Twitch chat, they've been a negative Nancy this whole stream. I would just ignore them. I would say, though, Morty's Legion AT ships could be pretty cool.
It could be.
Imagine a Cloaky Orthrus.
Or Cloaky Garmer. A Sino Cloaky Garmer.
Exactly. I mean, how much fun would that be?
I do actually kind of like that they're not allowing AT ships, because I think it evens the playing field more, too. Prove me wrong.
It's definitely a situation that I'm not upset about, because it means that, we don't have to worry about other teams throwing money at the problem, which is something that
has happened.
It's something that has happened historically, and we don't have to do. But at the same time, like, either way, I think we're very well set up regardless. We've got a free invite to the tournament. Our team is invited in because we third place in the Ang Games. We don't have to pay the Plex fee because we got invited in. We've got a decently experienced core team, and we'll be bringing in new players as well to help supplement that, and it's fun. regardless. It's just all going to be good fun. You know, I don't. I could care less about the AT ships. I could care less about the specific format. In fact,
Now,
I'm just
Dirk,
hyped
as
about
far
tournaments.
as far as the tournament goes, like in size, how does it compare to, let's say, like the Anger Games?
The AT is going to be bigger just by dint of it being a CCP event. You know, CCP's name gets players involved. That said, it's going to be the same number of teams maximum as we had for the Anger Games. We're going to see a ton of people watching. It's I wouldn't want to compare it in terms of size because again, you know, the CCP name will drag people in to watch it regardless. But certainly, you know, I wouldn't say it'll be more than 50 or 60% larger than the Anger Game in terms of participants and viewership, but all told. It's going to be a lot of people either way. I want to be very specific here, real quick, that the Anger Games, for every team, we're talking about somewhere between 20 and 30 people on average. And that's just for the teams. That's before we start talking about the people watching. And we were averaging like 850 people per stream. So there's actually a lot of people that participate and watch these things. It's a ton of fun for a lot of people, and I think it has always been underestimated in terms of like the amount of engagement it gets. Even if people don't participate in teams, you know, they tune in because they want to support their team.
I know
see their buddies playing, right?
How many goons have tuned in to watch a Goon Swarm AT team lose a match?
I tuned in mostly because I was at the time. I mostly tuned in because of Eve Bet, where you could bet on the AT teams. Oh, I was betting the crap out of people.
Oh, weren't we all?
So, does anybody have any other leaks from their sources? Because I've got a few, like from my sources, but does anybody have anything like, even if it's silly, like stuff that you've heard come out that's going to be announced on Saturday?
So, well, we do have the big Hell Steel to talk about.
Well, that's not really a leak.
Well,
He's more talking.
No, that's part of the show. We forgot to cover that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we stole a Hell. For those who don't know, the story behind it is some people went over to test space in Paragon Sol, and they went to go shoot a POS, and there was an empty Hell inside. And for the entire 3 days that it was refed, whoever owned that Hell never logged in to claim it back, so he never logged in to realize that his POS had been refed. So they formed a fleet. We went to go fucking kill the POS, and we stole the Hell. We literally, as a fleet.
So you stole the hell out of it?
Yes. So we stole the super out of the POS. There was a ship array inside as well that we blew up. That had a fully fitted Rorqual in it, but Loot Fairy said no, and that died. But hey, you know, whatever. We stole a fucking Hell. Get fucked. So that's my little victory lap on it. Ultra Cow has an amazing video of it. You should go if someone has a link to his channel, because I don't have one handy because I'm terrible. But if someone wants to link it, definitely go and watch that. It's an amazing video by Ultra Cal showcasing how we did it. The super is safe in 1DQ. It's been fully recovered by goons, and it's been donated to the Alliance to be used for SRP purposes in the event that someone loses a super.
I know
it was pretty cool, eh?
There is frat people. As far as leaks go, though, I've heard a couple of ones. We, of course, have the let's go do Eve Reserve Bank keys to go fund our SRP program, which is a losing battle in and of itself and makes no sense. And I know that there is frat people fire selling capitals and faction capitals.
So when it comes to FRT and the reserve banks, the way I understand it is that FRT has particularly had a couple systems that they have in their space that they have been specifically forcing the dynamic bounty system at a constant 150 to 200% rating by blowing up their own ships and whatnot to keep that rate high. And because of that, those systems have reached over $1 trillion in the reserve bank keys. In the reserve bank, there's over $1 trillion ISK in those two systems. And so FRT was basically saying, okay, get ready because we're going to have fleets go out that are going to guard the people's, using the reserve bank keys and taking out that $1 trillion ISK for the alliance. Right? That's what they were talking about. So they were going to, they read it and mined and did all the stuff they needed to do to have those reserve banks, and they were just announcing how they're going to secure that. As far as the other stuff goes, they are fire selling because they're slowly withdrawing outside of Delve. The majority of FRT's supers and all their capitals are sitting in NPC Delve at the moment, in their FWST Keepstar, in their YZ9 Keepstar, whatever, and they are just chilling there. And some of their members decided, I'm just going to sell it in T5Z and buy a new one in my home space because I don't feel like moving it. And so that's what a lot of them are doing. They're just straight up saying, 20 billion for my super. Here you go. And then they death clone back to Drone Lens and buy a new super off of Alliance contracts.
Kind of wacky, eh?
It is, although it's to be expected. I never, we've been saying since the beginning of this war that Fraternity is one of those alliances where they can't lose. They literally can't lose. It's a win-win no matter what. If the Imperium takes back Delve, FRT is not going to care. If the Imperium gets kicked out of Delve, Fraternity's not going to give a damn, right? They are on a win-win situation no matter where this war goes. And it's getting to a point where the content is getting boring for them, so it's time for them to yoink out of there.
I just like to give a shout out to the one and the only Mr. John Hartley in Twitch chat. Hi, John. How are you, buddy? He's selling a Vanquisher apparently too for $1 trillion.
John, we have to. We have to recognize that John is so full of heart that even Pappy recognized that he is Mr. Hartley.
Yeah, they don't know how to spell his name.
And apparently Thomas Lear is still in Imperium FC, am I right?
I mean, they had a couple in there that you're like, huh.
I hope not.
They also list Brother Bob as one of their FCs.
I went well for them, didn't it?
Yeah.
So some other leaks that are coming out there. I heard just because of the way that their coalition is shifting, they're going to be changing the name from the Blue Donut to the Blue Waffle.
Oh God, no, Greg.
Can we not revert back to 2010?
Sorry for that, everybody. Greg's 5.
No. Really, what has been proposed is they've been trying to talk to CCP about the M2 stuff, right? And they're like crying foul. So they've hired space cyber ninjas to do a forensic audit of the M2 fight.
Space cyber ninjas.
That's a thing.
Okay.
Moving right along. Don, you got an animal fact of the week for us? If you're still there and not busy tied up behind enemy lines.
If she doesn't, I got one.
What?
Dawn is going to talk to us about sea doggos, no doubt.
All right, Avon, maybe you can move along with Avon, tell us animal facts of the week. Brought to you this week by Gatorade Zero.
Animal
we're
fact
not
of the
taste
we're
and
week.
zero
not
sugar.
affiliated, not affiliated, not affiliated.
I am. Pay me,
So,
Gatorade.
animal fact of the week: there is a spider called the Muratus junctatus, which is an Australian member of the jumping spider family, colloquially known as the sparkle muffin spider, due to its colorful butt that it waves in the air to attract prey. And that's your animal fact of the week: the sparkle muffin spider that waves its butt in the air, also known as the peacock spider. It waves its butt in the air to attract prey, and it's bright and colorful.
I mean,
Okay,
who
no,
doesn't, right?
this is confirmed, actually, that the sparkle muffin spider actually does exist. Avon is not having us on here. Wow.
Yep.
These things are actually really impressive in terms
they are
of
very cool looking.
the bright colors and the patterns and everything they've got going on for them. Like, honestly, guys, you want to Google sparkle muffin spider and then just take a look at the image search.
There's also some
regret
good
it.
videos of its waving its butt in the air to attract its prey. It looks pretty amusing.
My favorite video of spiders has to be the one where the guy put like the spiders in like the lowrider car and he dubs over it being like, we gave LSD to a spider and here's what it's
that
doing.
one's great.
Silencer in Twitch chat, what you missed is I was too busy apparently shaving my knees that we couldn't respawn as a fleet because it wouldn't get pinged out. I was really busy shaving my knees, just so you know.
Seriously, Mifune, that's an actual experiment that was done way back in the olden days. They actually did give LSD to spiders to see what would happen with the webs.
Didn't they
gave
give LSD to everything?
Yeah, they gave
I don't
LSD
think you've
to a
seen that
lot of
video.
things.
I want LSD.
It's a hell of a drug, really.
Well, if you want to watch that video, it's called Spiders on Drugs, and you can find it very easily on YouTube.
Or you could just get your own LSD and your own marijuana and give it to a spider. No, don't do drugs, kids.
You can also find the British soldiers on LSD video if it's still around. That's also quite funny.
Is that kind of like
certainly still around somewhere?
Is that kind of like the flapjack thing from Pineapple Express at the beginning of the movie? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I got it. You know what, Greg and Don's gonna hate me for this, but I came up with a new question for Thetas, for first timers on Theta Thursdays. So it's a new question. What is one thing you were told as a kid by your parents that isn't actually like true? For me, it was always drug dealers will offer you free drugs to get hooked. Where?
Remember, kids, if someone offers you drugs, say thank you because that shit's expensive.
No, they're called pushers, right? They actually will do that. They'll offer you like crack cocaine or heroin or something.
Do we have any first time Theta people here?
Yeah, I understand the joke, but like these people
doesn't-
like
it doesn't
pushers,
happen
they
with
seriously
your,
need
your dealer, but it happens in like clubs and stuff.
think
It's a thing.
I would think it's something that happens at like parties and clubs and more of a place to get introduced to these things versus like trying to quiet yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
pushers
If you're
pushers
out,
legitimately should be shot in the back of the fucking head as far as I'm concerned. Pushers. A dealer is different than a pusher. A pusher will do that. They'll try to get you actually hooked on drugs so you could like hooked on like something addictive.
When you keep saying
so
pusher like that, I keep just picturing Mean Girls and Lindsay Lohan calling the teacher a pusher in the Burn book.
Possibly
I don't
not
know why.
that's possibly not the worst comparison ever, but we've got Standards as a first-time listener in Twitch chat asking, is this about how to do drugs or is it about Eve? And we've talked about Eve so far tonight. This is a show that meanders a little bit. It's not quite as bad as Push to Talk for that, but we meander a bit. We talk about many different things. One of them is tonight peacock spiders and how horrendous people will
You
try
will
and get
call
you
it the
hooked
sparkle
on
muffin and you
on
will like
drugs at parties.
I just think the correct answer is yes. Just yes.
I'm just saying, you will call it the sparkle muffin and nothing else.
I mean, Should we try and circle back to Eve just a little bit? For the
We
minute?
can a little bit.
We didn't talk about the
So-
ESSs.
Oh dear lord. Okay. I did not expect
How
this.
Pappy is planning to monetize their reserve bank ESSs to fund their SRP gabloons in their giant pyramid Ponzi scheme.
What?
Wow.
Yes, so
Yeah,
they
that's-
want to essentially nationalize their spaces ESSs to fund their SRP program. I can't
Not
see
the
most
worst
people
idea.
going along.
It's
I
not
mean,
the worst idea. I've got to
it's-
say
it's-
this straight up. It's not a terrible idea.
Well, it's not a bad idea, except for you got to fight. It's not like, you take one tag and you go and empty the whole reserve bank. They're going to have to be putting up fleets to farm these low sec sites for the 1-5 whatever keys they were saying they are.
And
then they got to bring them back to
happy
the
to do that.
spaces. Right, they're
Alright.
happy to do it, but then they have to get everyone else to agree to help with that and say, yeah, I don't care about that money. It's all yours to make more bad decisions that you've already made.
Like, here we
Even
go
it could
with
be worse, right? They could
Caleb,
be
real
doing
quick.
gabloons for tokens from the ESI.
Like,
that would be fun.
Here we have another quote from Noreus's Alliance update ahead of Saturday's big happy thing, right? And this paragraph suggests that any reserve bank ESS shit in Veil, Silent, and Tribute belongs to their members. I quote, it belongs to the strong and belongs to the pilots who keep Veil and Tribute safe. Then,
which is going to end up getting folded back into the coalition wallet, is what that makes me assume as well.
Wait a second.
Then he
belongs
said
to what?
that then it belongs to the strong and belongs to the pilots who keep Veil and Tribute safe.
So not
Then
the Ratters that earned it. They're going to take it for themselves yet again. They're not. That's them saying, well, we're going to take this as well, but we're going to word it differently.
Then he says, unfortunately, the Alliance has dibs on the reserve bank in Owasa and Branch, I love money. These two regions have collected a lot of saved up FRT bounties in the past 2 years, and the 1.9 trillion-isk worth of income can nicely resolve any of FRT's financial issues.
Oh, so when they get their wallet
Alliance
again?
FCs will bring fleets to drones to harvest the ISK as quickly as we can get the keys.
Right, so they got to get the numbers back to their space to set up these fleets to do it, which takes more numbers away from us. And like Lourdes points out in chat, it's going to be just like the abandoned structures. You're going to have a gold rush at first, where you're going to have people filamenting out to do these. You're going to have all kinds of people going out to do these. But once that money's gone, it's gone. And if they have this weird impression that, yes, there's supposedly 20 trillion-isk across all of Eve in these reserve banks, and they're just going to get it all? Like, are they expecting that that's this all automatically theirs? And
Does
how
anybody how does it work?
Well,
how do you get it all at once?
I want to.
You've got to sit there.
You got to sit there.
You have to
You
sit
sit
there
there
and
and you
collect
get a
ticks.
certain amount.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
as
get
it
all that
goes.
money. You're gonna have to sit there for hours and hours with a ton of these keys.
You're gonna have to use more than one key to get the full amount from essentially SS for sure.
Well, they can have fun doing that.
But
It's
So
kind
if
of
they
crazy.
go like full
Here's the thing.
communist on those, does that mean like Test leadership's just gonna go get themselves another faction titan?
Essentially.
Also, J-Dog in Twitch chat asks, is the TTT in trouble? And
No.
I just want to be very clear here. Anything regarding the Tranquility Trade agreement, the high-sec market dealings, everything else, FRT has nothing to do with that. FRT are currently trying to put their fingers in as many pies as possible, and they're kind of annoyed that they don't have their fingers in the high-tech pie. So this is why they've done the whole Eugen and Keepstar as well, the low-sec market Keepstar that they've set up in the last week or so.
Well,
FRT want
TTT
their
money
fingers
is low,
everywhere.
right? It's just
Well, I think
tanked
the
by
low sec
100
Keepstar.
billion.
the low sec Keepstar, I think, is where they're going to stage to get these keys out of, because it's near one of the areas you're going to supposedly be able to get these keys. So I think that's where they're going to stage to go farm these keys out of.
The whole talk is not only do FRT want to set up their own version of the TTT, the big speculation is that goons are going to get kicked out of the TTT, since all the other alliances that are currently with the TTT are the ones that are in the blue donut. So the assumption is that it would be a good idea to kick goons out of the Triple T agreement and then add fraternity into the Triple T agreement in replacement of goon
like
swarm.
we saw with TTT. TTT is a hub, but it's more of a specialized one, and I think it mostly focuses on like skill injectors and some other focused stuff. And I could totally see Frat's like, this is the Keepstar hub for ESS keys. Like that's what they want to do. This is where we do our fleets out of, and this is where we're going to sell these keys out of.
So maybe Dirk, you could explain how the TTT works for those who don't know,
So,
like me.
Broad strokes breakdown. The TTC, the Tranquility Trade Consortium, is an agreement primarily between Goon Swarm, Test, and Pandemic Horde. Those three specific alliances. And within that agreement, we have a number of different market hubs, structure hubs. For example, Perimeter is not just the Keepstar in Perimeter. There's a Satio in there. There's a refinement Tara, as far as I'm aware. There's a lot of TTC infrastructure in Perimeter.
It's basically a non-aggression pact between
it's
those
a hub
entities in all of HiSec, right? So there's a let's not shoot each other. Let's just milk the cows.
And then we have other hubs in other various places, and we've had hubs under the TTC that have been killed, like Ignoiton in February was killed by Snuffed Out, and that was primarily managed by the test arm of the TTC. And the way things work is that we all share in the profits, and nobody really gets in the way of anything else. However, there is a treaty that deals with the TTC. There are provisions within that treaty for parties leaving, and honestly, I think I think very specifically forcing the Imperium or forcing Goonswarm out, because and I say the Imperium because the way money trickles down from the TTC is not consistent. That's left to the members. So test get the money from the TTC. They get their share. Horde get their share. Goons get their share, and each alliance is left to, share the wealth as they see fit. And within the Imperium, we share it within the Imperium alliances. I'm not sure about the rest, but that's kind of how that goes. But if they were to pull goons out or force goons out and put FRT in, it starts out by giving FRT more money while FRT are focused on consolidating their wealth already.
They don't have a structure presence in HiSec, as far as I know. Frat.
It then also, removes one aspect of wealth from Legacy and Horde, because as I've said, there are multiple hubs run by the TTC. Just generally, it strengthens FRT, it weakens Test and Horde at a time that really they can't afford to be weakened, and it also frees up the Imperium to go after the TTC in HiSec.
My suddenly semen alt is so ready for this.
Right. Here's
If they push out the Imperium,
one thing,
right, then you have a Mexican
Caleb,
standoff in HiSec. That's the
Caleb,
problem.
one thing we have to say here that we always have to say on, well, I always have to say, is that the Imperium sticks to our deals. We stick to our word.
It's also about the fact that
we
many of
committed
the
to an
participants
agreement.
in HiSec were the people that participated in the whole structure rollout, right? So if that whole agreement falls now that they have the monopoly in HiSec, basically, then it's everyone for themselves, and then you will start having the potential of not having your structures in HiSec safe anymore because you've pushed one of the cartel members out. So I don't see this as a benefit for anyone to push goons out. And the whole thing about Frat, as far as I know, they do not have a presence or an interest really in high-sec structures. So the fact that they're sitting there begging for something from the gravy train, that's really not a TTC thing. That's a Pappy thing.
No,
FRT
but yeah,
don't have
it is...
an established presence. But I do want to say real quick, I want to clarify, the Imperium do not break our agreement. We entered into an agreement regarding the TTC. We are still in that agreement. We consider it to be positive. We will be in that agreement
and
until
it baffles.
It is no longer positive.
So what would the consequences be of them breaking the agreement? Them saying "fuck you, goons, get out."
We would probably go
deploy suddenly seamen and absolutely fucking destroy the entirety of the TTC.
I don't think we would do it right now. I think we would do it once everything else has cooled down.
We would do it when things cool down, obviously, but we would do it nonetheless. And the thing that baffles me about the whole bringing TTT into this war drama is that Pappy line members have been going and asking PGL and asking Villy and asking Gobbins, why won't you kick goons out? You're giving them free money. The whole reason this war won't end is because goons are surviving on TTT money. And
no, we're not.
Thank you.
Lol.
Someone else said
wasn't Brave getting a grand total of sweet fuck all from TTT?
Yes.
The entirety of Legacy, apart from
Added
Delve,
value.
were receiving value.
Added value, yes.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
and the point is that because of the whole thing with high-sec structure and structure bashing in high-sec being such a pain, no one really wants to bother with it. And if you break this non-aggression thing, you open yourself up, and that becomes a bit of a problem for any of the current participants because none of their structures are going to be safe anymore. And then it could actually end up being detrimental to any high-sec dwellers because the whole thing could actually collapse and then be pushed back to NPCs, and that would really be cancerous.
What? But you say that could be cancer. Let's talk real quickly. What is the issue with using NPC markets rather than player markets? Caleb, what's the big deal there? Terrari jumped in, but Caleb, you're a market guy.
Well,
what's the big deal?
There's no competition. There is no recirculation of wealth, and it's basically anything that's got to do with market stuff and NPC stations is a step backwards. We just did a huge step forwards into the structure era, and CCP has not really let us take the next step. But that's mostly because of the whole TTC thing, because the whole structure aggression is still shit. So I think that if we roll back to GDA 4.4, that would be really, really bad. If you look at how the whole money distribution is working in high-sec structures, going back to the old ways is not beneficial for the game, and I think it would be sad. I can understand why people have issues with TTC, but the fact that the players have taken over services in HiSec is really healthy for the game. It creates a whole ecosystem by itself, at least until the TTC came and crushed it. So I don't know. I can see benefits from disrupting the TTC because I don't necessarily like monopolies, but it should not come from the whole point of the war issue because a TTC is required in HiSec, in my opinion. I'm just sad that it's got the Alliance uniforms on it and logos.
Interesting perspective, Caleb.
But he's not
I
wrong.
disagree with the point of keep stars not being a part of high sec. I think any structure should be in high sec, and I think player-owned structures should dominate high sec just as much as it dominates null sec. It should be such a benefit to use other players' services, which is a saleable wealth that can be war decked, that can be aggressed against, and NPC stuff should die in a fucking fire. Sorry.
I'm with specific restrictions for specific situations. So like I'm of the opinion that keep stars should not be allowed in high sec, and that keep stars should not be allowed in very low class wormhole space. I'm not sure how you'd spin the law to enforce it in low class wormhole space, but like C1 and C2 wormholes should not see keep stars. That's
I
my
completely disagree. I
personal
think the
opinion.
biggest structures should be allowed in high sec, but of course they should be extremely costly to run. I'd say it should be more normal to see extra large structures in high sec than in null. That should only be something that is scalable and reachable in null for entities of a certain size. Again, this is really a discussion of what is end level content, and I think keep stars and extra large structures should be the end level content, and it should be massively expensive to actually roll these things out, and they should have proportional utility and benefits. They don't at the moment, and then we get back to the discussion of infinite slots and infinite office space, which is just the biggest mistake that CCP has done in this decade.
Infinite slots were bad.
And speaking of beautiful structures in space, we're going to welcome Dave Archer to the stream.
We are going to welcome Dave Archer in a second.
Hey, Dave.
I want to address something in chat. Want to trade Lunchable for a Sloppy Joe? Sir, that is incorrect. You only trade your Lunchable for a Danimals yogurt, and that
Mifune,
is the only acceptable... No, that is the only
Everyone
acceptable
is ignoring
trade.
Mifune and welcoming Dave Archer to the stream. Dave, how are you doing this evening?
Hello, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
I literally just woke up from a nap. I fell asleep earlier.
And yet you in your groggy state is still preferable to Mifune talking about Lunchables.
I can quite agree.
How are you feeling about the war at the minute, Dave? Let's dive straight in. How are you feeling about the war?
I'm feeling quite good. I'm having a lot of fun still, surprisingly. Yeah, and it's an interesting phase that I can't really talk too much about, but it is an interesting phase.
Have you read some of the leaks and announcements that we've seen over the last couple of days?
The ones I caught, yeah, I have a feeling they're going to go one of two ways with all this stuff.
I mean,
on Saturday?
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to do?
They're either going to jerk themselves off and go, well done, we killed Keep Stars, let's go. Or they're going to very foolishly try and do a massive attack and then get bitch slapped.
I mean, the one of the leaks that we've seen and discussed this evening was a pretty significant, basically, map of how they would do this before they all got into discussing how they do this. And earlier on, we discussed this, and it was basically the idea that actually this is a pretty solid plan. What do you think about their initial plan that Manny wrote? And do you think they could have done it if they'd stuck to the plan? Have you read the plan? I suppose is the first question.
I saw it, and I saw all the text, so I didn't really read it. Just kind of glancing over it now. I mean, from what I see from a glance, he's got some of the points right, but I take it's the one that lists the FCs at the bottom, for instance.
Yeah, it's basically a whole thing of like, this is what our organization needs to do. This is what our different sections need to do. This is who we need to like focus on, and blah blah blah.
So from a glance, it seems better than what they did. There's no way to know if it would have worked without them actually trying it. Except the one glaring issue with it is their intel on who's about and who would be against them is atrocious. Right.
Yeah, that was the takeaway from it earlier when we were looking at it.
If you're
the intel was shit.
if you're going to do a plan like that, plan for every eventuality and at least actually name people that are still in the
game
Imperium
or the game.
Yeah.
Okay, but I've got a question for the whole moving forward thing and going one of two directions. The one direction you were discussing earlier, Dirk, I think it was you talking about it, was a 60-day to end the war plan. What do you think they could actually accomplish in a 60-day time frame?
Funnily enough, that came from the second thing that I wanted to ask Dave about, which was Nereus' most recent announcement. Dave, have you actually read that?
Oh yeah, I've read that one.
Okay, so Dave can actually comment on that one, and I'll drop it in Twitch chat real quick. And we just had a question about the 60-day announcement. We discussed it earlier, but Dave, where do you think we're going to be in 60 days? Are Pappy going to be feeling confident after the 60 days based on what Nereus has said?
So if they try and spend 60 days to attack us, or finish their goal, I think they're just going to be sat exactly where they are right now. We're actually in a better spot now to defend the constellation than we were when we were first pushed back into only this constellation. So they screwed the pooch, and yeah.
It could even be worse. They could be back. They could be have a step back, trying to take a step forward. In my opinion, anyways.
Two steps back, two steps back, one step forward, or one step back, two steps forward, Greg? What are you thinking then?
The previous one. So basically, they would take one step forward and bash their head into 1DQ, and they would have to take two steps back because they would have to pay for their ships that they would lose.
My biggest problem with this is, as they always say, like, the other side gets a say too, and I think we're a lot better at accounting for what they're gonna do than they are for what ours. It seems like every time I see their new leak or new plan, it's just assuming we're just gonna roll over and let them do X, Y, or Z with not contesting it at all.
Oh,
like,
100%, yeah.
we're just gonna take their jammers. Like, it's just that simple. Or we're just gonna kill this faction Forsar. It's just that simple. Like,
yeah, it's
you have
gonna
to
be
put the
bloody
time,
fighting,
effort,
right?
and work into, and we get a say in that too. Like, you think we're just gonna let you come in and do that and just say, yeah, no, that's fine, go ahead.
Well, hell, I mean, one big thing I saw just glancing over this, and again, I'm kind of a nobody. The whole first paragraph after Norris's introduction, he clearly states Goon's firesides have stayed very stable around 900 to 1300. The Mittani seems not to care or understand member burnout, and this is very different from how Test and other null alliances manage our members. I think the big takeaway from this paragraph is the tireless swarm of maniacal bees is somewhat unexpected. I don't see them doing anything further than what they're doing for the last week.
I mean, let's throw that over to Dave once again. Dave, when we're talking about, Goon Fireside staying consistent, and our approach to member burnout being, according to Nereus, very different from how Pappy deal with their members. How are you feeling about this war and our member base? How are you feeling about our participation numbers? Because I looked at the June Pat metrics just like 2 days ago or so, and my God, they were incredible. How are you feeling about them?
So I'm gonna stick on the corporation leadership hat for a second. For my corp, the participation has stayed
Ascendance, to be clear.
Yeah, has stayed incredibly high for the entire war, like even higher than it has in past wars. And even our recruitment, we've got a positive doubt of people coming into the corp, and I've heard the same from many other corps. So I think morale and burnout is not an issue because it's been managed by the people whose job it is to manage it quite well. Which, funnily enough, on Norris's thing, it says Mittens doesn't know anything about it. He does. It's just other people manage it because he doesn't. He manages other people that manage it.
There's a term that we have for this. There's a term for our leadership structure, and I want to introduce our viewers to this. It's called team structures. you build a team who are responsible for X thing, Y thing, Z thing. So we have an SRP team, and we have a director who reports to Mittens, who is responsible for the SRP team. We have a Diplo team, and we have a director in the Diplo team who reports to Mittens. And we have a cohort team. Dave, you could talk about a cohort team a little bit, but they report to a director who reports to Mittens. And then corporations, when it comes to recruitment, we have a corporation recruitment team who, again, report to Mittens, but they're responsible for bringing the corporations in, and then the corporations build their own teams to recruit players, do military stuff, make sure that they have their own top up SRP if they like, as we talked earlier.
But Norris's mistake is to assume that there's bad news, and it's just not reaching Mittens. It's the other way around. There's no bad news, and that's why Mittens is not getting it.
Yeah, whenever there is bad news, he finds out instantly because one of us tells him.
Mittens cannot be hidden from the bad news. Like, you try and hide bad news from Mittens, and Mittens immediately is like, okay, something has shifted in the vibe here, and I don't like it. Somebody's gonna tell me what the fuck's going on.
So I believe Dave can comment on this a little more, but earlier in the war, one of the greatest ways that I saw that we managed member burnout, and especially when it comes to something like FC burnout, we changed our vulnerability timers between US time zone and EU time zone and switched back and forth throughout the war every few months or so that, we didn't have US time zone FCs that were on standby every single night for more than 3-4 months at a time. Did my mic cut out there? My mic must have cut out on stream.
No, we heard you. Yeah, that's just kind of common sense, really. Like, if you've got to have people watching some at 24/7, they can't do that for an entire year. So, yeah, you just flip it. You spread the load. We do the same with FCing. Like, at the start of the war, it was just a few people constantly doing it all. Now we have a very deep selection of FCs that, we don't have to have Asher or Jay about 24/7 to do stuff. John doesn't always have to be there to form the fleet.
Yeah, but when you look at Pappy and it's the same 12, 13 FCs this whole war, right? And that's, well, for the most part,
I have to interject here and say that this is what we're talking about when we say a team structure. Because what Dave is talking about here, in terms of it not having to be Asher or Jay or John or Dave himself running fleets, we're talking about this filtering down and building our teams and trusting the people in those teams. And we do that across the entirety of the Imperium.
Yeah, so like halfway through this war, me and Mike Flood were put in charge of, nurturing the FCs and bring them up to a level where they can do battleships and hacks and stuff. Most of the FCs you see FCing today, with the exception of like John and all that, started this war as skirmish commanders.
I know for sure a bunch of us have been more AFK than we would like during this war, and even still, the team has continued and people have continued to teach others. It's really great to see.
I mean, I started this war as a skirmish commander, and now look at all the crap I do. So
I started it as a skirmish commander too.
Now you drive the school bus.
I know.
I started it as a skirmish commander too.
We use our brains and actually teach people rather than being toxic to all of our FCs and making their entire corp want to leave.
I started this war on an LOA and came back after my LOA because military.
Yeah, I mean, I started as a skirmish commander, took a year off from EVE, and now I'm back as a skirmish commander.
I mean, that happens, but we also make sure that if somebody has to step away at any one point, another person is and ready to kind of like step into that void. If it's like a 1 week holiday, great. Somebody else can step in and fill it. If it's they need a break, they're burned out and they need a proper break, and it's like 6 months away, somebody is ready to step in. If they are done indefinitely and don't know when they'll be back, somebody is ready to step in. We build in redundancy. So, how about fuck Pappy? Because you all need to realize that you need to build redundancy
Now,
within your systems.
I haven't looked too much into this because, well, I didn't care, but maybe some of you guys might know the answer. How well does Pappy accept, like, if Zero Muskie went tomorrow and said, hey, I'm burned out, I don't want to do fleets anymore, like, would they be accepting of that, or would it be like, fuck, no, you're going to do fleets right now? Screw that.
I mean, Alpha
You
Star
can't-
tried to do that, and he quit.
You can't force people to play a thing that they do for
Yeah, but
enjoyment.
is it like I guess the gamer words would be clutch or kick, right? Are they saying, well, you can either go lead at like these fleets or you can leave? Like are they doing that in Pappy, or are they accepting of like, hey, I'm burned out. I've been doing these fleets every day. Like if Shattered Armor or fucking Zero Muskie or that other guy that I don't even know his name, that's always out there in fleets doing all this stuff, Aurelius or whatever his name is, just said, hey, I'm burned out, I need to take a break. Are they accepting of that?
It's the thing is that Pappy is accepting of that, but the problem lies in the fact that they just don't have the amount of
infrastructure.
I guess infrastructure. Yeah, a good analogy for it is think of a workplace, and let's say you've been working there, like you're working 20 hours of overtime, you're fucking tired, and you want to take a vacation, so you call in to take a vacation day, and your boss is like, well, the law states that I have to give you your personal time off, but I would really love it if you didn't, because we're so goddamn short staffed that it will kill the fucking business if you do take that vacation. So that's the big thing, is that if people like Zero Muskie and people like Villy and all of them experience that burnout, they don't have, like, Pappy doesn't have that skirmish commanders kind of structure
like
that we do, right?
The words we're all looking for here, real quick. The words we're all looking for here are process management.
Well,
actually knowing who the next guy is, who can step in for somebody to take a week off without us all losing our fucking minds. It's process management. And if they don't have that, that's a personal issue.
Well, I think they have some weird things going on. It's like, for instance, right, Ichinumi went to Pappy. He wasn't a good FC in Goons, and he's not a good FC over there either. He's just not, like, he's not a bad player, but he's not good at FCing. But they still keep him going just because is that what they have to deal with? Like, we got this guy, we got nobody else to deal with it? Like, they have no one else that can step in? Because he's not a good FC.
There's also an ego issue. Right. I have to say this, and Dave, you're going to agree with me, and we're both going to seem like arrogant sods because of it, but there is always an ego issue when it comes to FC.
Hey, I spend most of my time batting people's egos into the ground so they don't become dickheads.
Like FCs who run fleets always believe, or that they have to believe, that they are the best person to be in that situation, dealing with whatever that situation is. And so, there's an ego versus skill kind of balance that you always have to make.
See, now that I think also comes back to how your organization is set up, because in ours, the people that think they know better would just go along and assist the person actually doing it. So, for instance, when my super fleet got dread bombed, Jay didn't come and take over. He just came and sat there and offered advice.
Yeah, you throw the occasional comment and it works out some way.
Yeah, well, I've seen hostile fleets where the FCs suddenly change when stuff's going not their way, and it's like, that's going to teach the person totally. No, it's not. It's just going to make you look good.
It doesn't foster growth. You learn more from failure than you do success.
I mean, sometimes there are points at which you want to make sure that, you know, if a fleet is out there alone, there are points at which an experienced FC is, you know, you step them in. But most of the time, otherwise, just, yeah, let people make mistakes and make them, I say make them, ask them to go over their mistakes. Once they realize where their mistakes are and learn from it, those are the better moment. Those are the moments that actually make solid FC. When they assess what they did wrong and realize how to do it differently.
All right. Well, because of time constraints, we do have to move on to final thoughts just about now. So we'll go down the line. Everyone can talk about their one little final bullet point of the night, and then it's off to bed for me since I got work in 5 hours. So Avon, what's your final thought tonight?
So my final thought is entirely unrelated to the rest of this. Jay Recluse is the guy that made an account impersonating Timerian called Diplo and Bass Timerian. I killed him in Uedama the other day. He likes trash talking other people, trash talking Karma Fleet, and just being an asshole in the game. If you see him in local, if you kill him, I might pay you money because he's a dick and deserves to be killed in the game. Not in real life, in the game. Don't impersonate people. Final thought.
All right, Caleb?
I want the last year back.
I agree. Dave?
Just that Pappy may as well go home because they are not getting into that constellation.
I agree once again. Dirk?
Even if Pappy do make it into the constellation, the idea that we're leaving Delve is hilarious, and you all need to just get a grasp on reality at this point. Like, please, come the fuck on. Recognize your failings and go home for a while.
Docs?
Do you want to guess what my final thought is?
I don't.
I got nothing. Greg?
Thanks, Docs. All right, believe it or not, there's a link in chat, and we have started the actual process.
Oh God, no!
INN or Theta Thursdays, first annual talent show extravaganza. Make sure you visit that link and sign up.
You've been working on this for 6 solid months at this point.
I'm just going to be 6 solid months full of fucking awesome, bud.
One of the side notes on the talent show aspect of things, because of Twitch TOS rules, anybody who's doing anything music wise, or anybody that might think I might have a backing track or anything like that, you can't. You have to do it live. So any instruments that are supposed to play, you're gonna have to provide and use those instruments yourself.
And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like you can do any talent you want, right? Like if you can do armpit farts, like great. If you're like good at cutting hair or something like that, like you could like give yourself like a haircut as long as it's under 3 minutes.
Yeah, you can do anything.
Oh dear lord!
Yeah, all sorts of crazy
months
stuff.
Of this, and yet you can't have a backing track, guys. Here you go,
dude. It isn't our fault. It's friggin' Twitch.
All right, Guy, your final thought.
Polarized faction bombers are the way to go.
Alterari?
You sound like somebody I should have on my AT team.
I have a feeling that this Saturday is going to be a massive letdown, and it's going to be laughs on our side.
I think everyone's in agreement.
Claxus?
I think on Saturday, I'm really hoping they decide they're going to yeet their rest of their super caps on one queue, but I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed. And my other final thought is a link I just posted in the chat.
Oh, yes. I guess that'll lead.
Do we want to click this?
Yes, you do.
Oh, for sure, it's awesome.
It's a seriously
yeah.
drop.
Look to your left. It came out with a new music video this week. It is fucking glorious. And this is my final thought. I can't play it on stream because lovely Twitch, but go click it, go watch it after the stream. It's a great fucking song. It's so fucking good.
I'm down for a seriously music video. I just these are precautions you have to take.
I mean, Rampage Merc plays them on his stream. Is there something saying you can't?
No. Random goon links a thing. You have to ask whether or not this is a link you want to click. Seriously,
no, I mean, just
videos are fine, but like,
as far as playing things on stream goes, yes, I could technically play it, but there's always a chance that the Twitch auto DMCA music bot or whatever will detect the backing track for his music video and then ban the INN Twitch channel for playing copyrighted music. So there's always that
we do have
risk.
a very specific seriously video that we cannot play because of that.
Yeah.
Like,
Mifune, check. This just in. I've got new leaks from what's going to be announced Saturday. Apparently, Pappy is going to be adopting a new battle song. It's going to be Barbie Girl by Aqua. And also the entire coalition is going full brony culture.
This is where you tell us that they're also paying to adopt a rat dog.
Anyway, that's all for this week. I hope y'all had a absolute wonderful time. We had some interesting chats today, interesting people. I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. Big note, big ding ding ding. Meta show is tomorrow. Wait. What time is the meta show at?
Midnight Eve.
Midnight Eve. So the same time our show starts, except tomorrow. The meta show is going to be tomorrow night. Watch it. It's going to be
very
great.
special prime time meta show.
Oh, if you like the Herf Blurf, there's going to be a lot of Herf Blurfing tomorrow. That's for sure.
We should raid Merc, right?
Friday.
We can't raid Merc. That would be a life shifter thing.
Meta show Friday, 23:59 Eve.
Yep.
Tune in. It's because Brisk is going drinking on Saturday. I'll be real with you all. The meta show is on Friday at 23:59 Eve because Brisk is going drinking on Saturday.
Right, like they're having their Cleveland meetup. So
is it going to be a steamer?
No. We don't talk about that meetup. We just Brisk is going drinking. That's why. Doesn't matter about the meetup. The meta show has changed the time because Brisk is going drinking.
I mean, Brisk is still going to be streaming his drinking on the Rampage show. He's already said they're going to be having a phone stream.
Oh dear
and
Lord.
That reminds me,
they're all going to be there as well. It's Brisk, Noms, and Merc. So
they've already said they're going to stream the Rampage stream from a phone from a third party. I don't remember whose name they said.
So another thing we are working on is we are working on getting special INN coverage of eVegas and everything that participates, including a live rendition of Theta Thursdays at eVegas, which is going to be pretty interesting.
Mifune, are you going to eVegas?
I am indeed.
How are you getting in the hotel? It's a 21 and over hotel.
I am not staying in the hotel. My corporation has a villa outside the strip that most of us will be staying at.
You can't even go in the hotel, though.
I feel like going to Eve Vegas when you're not 21 is just a huge waste.
He can go in. Hold on, he can go in. He just can't step off the walkways on the casino floor.
I'm going to set up the
it's an adults-only hotel. It's a 21
no,
and over
no.
hotel.
Oh, no, we're not on about that one. We're not staying in that hotel.
The idea that America has about legal age to do things is so incredible, incredibly backwards.
Let's not go down this path.
Like I regularly serve people like 2 years younger than them.
Let's not go down.
Mifune here is 20 and he can't legally.
I know, Dirk. It's
wait, Dirk. It's not just drink. I can't legally smoke either anymore.
You can smoke cigarettes.
No,
Don't get cancer.
no, you can't. No, you can't
What?
either.
They changed that?
In the majority
man.
of states, you have to be 21 to buy tobacco now, and in some states, in about 23 states, you have to be 21 to buy a lottery ticket.
You can't even buy like a handgun either, then, can you?
Nope.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah, you can come to Arizona.
You're all fucking weird. You've got to really learn how.
For once,
Just
I agree with
generally
Will.
common sense works.
But hey, I turned 21 in 6 months, so it won't be that much of an issue for much longer.
I'm
So
saying that
drinking,
this one.
yeah, drinking's illegal for Mifune, but growing that little fucking jazz soul patch or whatever's on his face is completely legal.
Well, it's like when John Hartley was like, "Hey, Mifune can grow facial hair." Wow, when did that happen?
Mifune, if you still got that in October, I'm shaving it off. Literally.
He'll deserve it. Like you don't just have some sort of weird growth on your face.
I'm just wondering if it ever grows
either
out
do
from
a
the
beard
spot,
or
like
you
right
don't.
on his chin.
At least he doesn't have a chin strap.
No,
I mean,
really. You do a beard or you don't. If you can't do a beard, you don't even try. But
it almost just looks like he
some
like
sort of,
fell on his face and just dipped his chin into like some dirt.
Mate, Mike probably could even grow a better beard than that.
I don't believe that.
I believe that. I'll believe that in a heartbeat. That Mike could probably grow more facial. But anyway, we are going a little bit over.
Poor Mifune here. Are we calling it a night, Mifune?
Mifune deserves it.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Mifune deserves it for being a poor youngster.
Mifune, when's your 21st birthday?
February 13th, 2022.
Ugh.
8 months.
We need to do they deliver alcohol in your state?
I believe yes, they do.
Maybe we just need to Uber Eats him a bunch of booze on his 21st birthday. I don't know.
What's really funny is my dad goes to me and he goes, we're going to make sure your 21st birthday is a night you'll never forget. And I said, excuse me, you think I'm going to remember a damn thing from that night?
Yeah, the night you never forget is a horrible idea because that means you weren't drunk enough.
Right.
Again, welcome to You All Do Alcohol Incorrectly.
JDJ, we went over this. We do not have the person around that can raid us to someone else, so unfortunately we can't do that.
I put a link in the stream.
So what's wonderful about Twitch is that there are certain commands like the raid command and the host command can only be done when you're signed into the actual channel. I am not signed into the INN channel, so therefore I cannot do it.
Briss? Just ping Briss.
Someone ping Briss for it. But anyway, good night, everybody.
You want me to ping Briss before you get a sign off, so if we can rate him?
If we should be able to.
Yeah, let me ask him.
Yeah, because I had some more. I had some more leaks that just come in. Apparently, I got this quote: "We were just kidding, goons. No hard feelings." Where did that come from? That's a possibility. What they may say on Saturday.
That sounds like it came from your cat.
No.
Is that before or after we've crushed them into the dirt?
What? Wait, whoa! Who was insulting Greg's cat there?
No, nobody's insulting. I don't even know where he is.
Somebody suggested that the leak came from Greg's cat. And,
my cat wouldn't fly. My cat wouldn't fly with Pappy.
By that I meant that it wasn't reputable. That was not an insult to the cat.
Okay.
Whoa! Did you just suggest that Greg's cat isn't reputable?
Check.
It's a source for EVE Online leaks. No, I don't think it is.
I'm a call of
Jesus,
check.
You terrible person.
Is Mifune trying to say something, Dirk?
No, Mifune isn't trying to say anything.
Anyways, yeah, so I had a couple other ones.
Nobody here can hear Mifune.
Apparently,
all right. I believe we have to end the stream. No, I believe we have to end the stream for Briss to actually do the raid. Am I correct on that?
No.
We can keep going as long as Briss can log in and do whatever he likes.
Yeah,
and you can just shut the fuck up.
Gobbins is debuting a new TikTok dance on Saturday. That's another leak.
A new TikTok dance from Gobbins. Holy shit! What?
This one.
But I mean, is this a 30-second TikTok dance?
Brisk is in the Twitch chat now. I messaged him saying we need his help.
Yes, please help Brisk. Please, love of God.
What is your problem? Why are you incapable of raiding us as you usually?
We don't
can
have
do?
the access.
No, it just worked.
Brisk
I think.
normally does.
Yeah,
so,
we just
like,
got
Brisk
raided.
does.
We just
Well,
raided.
what is
We
wrong
just
with
did it.
Brisk tonight?
Yeah, no, it's working.
Is
Okay.
it working? Okay.
It is
All right,
reading.
thanks everybody.
Good
All
night
right,
and good
everyone.
fight.
Good night, everybody.